This is part 2 of a 2-part series. Be sure to watch part 1 as well. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'm Pippi Peterson. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as my website at pippinings.com, where you can also get your Ready Row t-shirt, as well as other RV living supplies. Alright, so the next tough task to tackle is clogged drains, which I seem to get a lot of. And I've bought all sorts of Drano and things like this. And sometimes they work really well, but surprisingly, and I don't know why, maybe I've used it wrong, but surprisingly, I've had them not work. So, I've never really known what to do with it, and I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I use that I have? And it's a high pH because you want to, dig into that grease and grime. And what's a water softener? Because you get all the calcium buildup, and that just makes the pipes, thinner on the inside. So I was like, oh my gosh, washing soda has a high pH and water softener. So I tried it, and now I don't think I will ever buy a Drano again. These two blow my mind for cleaning clogged drains. Now first, I know some of you are saying, oh, I've heard baking soda and vinegar declogs drains, which is like the most absolute ridiculous farce that is going around on the internet. It does not work. When you mix vinegar and baking soda, your pH, that's mixing an acid and a base. It's canceling each other out. So you're basically cleaning with water. You're basically saying, hey, let's try to unclog the drain by putting water down it. So anyway, I did try these out just out of curiosity. I have not seen this used before, but I have found it to be a miracle. I mean, like literally mind-blowing. Okay, and how I do it? I just pour the powder into the drain, mix it with some of the softener, and I let it sit only long enough to heat a full kettle of water. And I also found that it will completely clean and shine the metal drain. I've gotten off water stains and, just gunk that's in my drain that I never knew could be removed. All right, let's talk about surface cleaners now. So I'm definitely wary of using surface cleaners, just buying one because of the marketing on it, because they often come with ammonia, and that's the one thing that I really don't ever want to get in my RV. I do store bleach for the rare uses of it, and, those are just two to never mix, and it's better to just never have it. So I used to buy cleaners that say, with bleach. Then I know that there's probably no ammonia in it. But they're expensive and they're pretty harsh. They have a harsh smell. If you're cleaning a surface for long with a lot of those cleaners, clean out the lining of your nose, and you're not going to smell normal for a while. So I thought, what is underrated is freaking soapy water and elbow grease. This is a pH of 9, so it's alkaline, so it's getting in the grease, and then I mix it with distilled water. I also like the Castile soap because it's biodegradable, it smells good, and I use it for like a general hand washing soap, by all my sinks. For the longest time, I did try, using vinegar to clean, because they say, oh, you can clean your whole house with vinegar. But I found that it didn't clean. I think it's literally just disinfecting. I've got my, super shiny clear epoxy countertops and tabletop, and it would just leave like muddy streaks. It wasn't working. And when I started using just plain soap and water, particularly the Castile, which I really like, it left no streaks and it cleaned. I didn't have to even scrub a lot of things, so it kind of does a lot of elbow grease for you. I use it on tough stains like, in the refrigerator when things are just gross. I just spray it on and all the gunk wipes up. I don't even have to let it sit or do anything. Plus, I don't have to re-wipe it because a lot of chemicals, if you're going to use them on surfaces that get exposed to food, you have to wipe up that chemical, and you don't have to do that with the Castile soap and water. Now, I mix it with distilled water, and I highly encourage you to make all of your homemade cleaners with distilled water. Distilled water is not tap water. What tap water is usually hard. It's got mineral like calcium. Some even have chlorine, whatever the city is deciding to put in the water, that is what's coming out. And if you use tap water, you will see some of those remaining mineral deposits, like you might see white. And so you don't want to, be spraying that on your surfaces just because, then you'll have like this grime there. You can see the effects of tap water in, for example, if you boil tap water in a tea kettle and you never wash it, you could wash it or not, but if you're just boiling water in there, then after time you're going to see like white deposit on the walls of the kettle, and that is the calcium in it. So I've seen people say, oh, use distilled water or boiled water. Well, those are absolute opposites. Using distilled water has no hard mineral deposits in it. Boiled water has concentrated mineral deposits in it because the way you get distilled water is by boiling tap water or any water, and the steam comes up, which doesn't bring the calcium and hard water deposits with it. It's just pure water, and it dumps it out into another area. What's remaining is all of the hard water and mineral deposits that were in the water originally. So I'm actually a really big fan of using distilled water, and I only drink distilled water. I have a water distiller and I use it every day. I distill my water every day. And so I really see the effects of the hard water in the chamber that boils the tap water. So check out these disgusting remnants of what comes out of the tap water. This is in tap water. Only use distilled water in your homemade cleaners. By the way, if you do have a tea kettle with all that white stuff and you've never been able to remove it, you don't have to pick away. Just boil white distilled vinegar in it and it removes it like a miracle. Using your Castile soap and distilled water as a surface cleaner, note that this is not a disinfectant. So if you want to use a disinfectant, here's an idea. My homemade glass cleaner. So often glass cleaners will come with ammonia because it works really well. But that is, again, something that I definitely don't want to use. I don't want it in my RV. Plus, this is way cheaper, and I tried it out. There's so many different recipes online. It's just distilled white vinegar and, again, distilled water. And if you want, because it smells really vinegary when you use it, you can add in like a couple drops of an essential oil. And my favorite is to use grapefruit. I really like the smell of it. And it masks the vinegar pretty well, whereas something like lavender might not mask the vinegar smell. However, that's a very temporary thing. It doesn't continue to smell like vinegar. So the ratio that I've found I really like is 1 part vinegar and then 5 parts water. And then I put 10 to 12 drops of essential oil in. So the great thing about this is it is a very fantastic glass cleaner, especially if you use the microfiber cloths afterwards. And it also works as a disinfectant for surfaces. So my homemade general purpose surface cleaner is not a disinfectant. So, if you want to use that and you want to disinfect, then you can use something like this afterwards. However, you don't really need to be going around disinfecting all the time unless, somebody in the household is sick or something like that. So to compare vinegar as a disinfectant versus bleach, which everybody knows is like a kill-all disinfectant, vinegar is not as strong, but is like almost 99% as strong. Some of the things that vinegar will not get are, it will not kill all strains of E. coli, but it will kill some strains of E. coli. It does not kill staph infection, and it doesn't kill all molds. So those are instances that are, maybe or maybe will not ever happen in your household. So anyway, that's the difference. And the other thing that you definitely want to use bleach versus vinegar is if you've got a cutting board that you've used raw meat on. Okay, you might be asking, well, why not put the vinegar in the all-purpose surface cleaner? Well, because the vinegar has a low pH, it's acidic, and the all-purpose cleaner has a pH of 9, and if you put those together, you're going to ruin the effects of disinfecting and the effects of cleaning, so you pretty much, kind of cancel it out, and it's nothing. So you got to use them separate. All right, moving along to a heavy-duty scrubber cleaner. So basically, to do something that is a little bit harder than, just using soapy water, which works a lot of the time, is to use the general purpose cleaner, which is the Castile soap and water, with a little bit of washing soda. So remember, there's that cleaner called Comet, and it was a powder, and you powder it on, and then you scrub. And the fact that it's a powder actually makes it a little more abrasive and, have a scrubbing action. So that's the same thing that you get with the washing soda. You get a little extra abrasiveness of using the powder, as well as you get the high pH, which, is one of those things that just digs into the dirt and grime. So these two things, the Castile soap and water, and then using this as a powder on things like if you've got a toilet with some hard water stains, or, like your shower's got all the soap scum, these two combined are an excellent cleaner. And this one, again, I've got such high praise for it. It goes above and beyond in like all sorts of different applications. Like I have, and probably you have too, seat belts. If you're wearing like a tank top or something and it's exposed to skin, the seat belt gets kind of dirty. And, a great way to clean it is, using these two and, kind of scrubbing it. So this is great on like carpets and, cleaning ghost seat belts, baked on things, where you need to just have a little bit of extra scrubbing power. The washing soda is just phenomenal. So then you might ask, well, hey, if this is an even more powerful cleaner than the Castile soapy water alone, why not add this into this? Well, the reason that I like all of these combinations separate and stuff is because they're very safe. If you add this and you're cleaning your house with this, you may want to put gloves on because this is caustic. It's high on the pH scale. It's, you just don't want to let this sit on your skin. So, if you're using this all around and you've added the washing soda into your whole chemical mix and you don't have gloves, you're going to be getting it on your skin. So that is why you don't mix them. Moving along to floor cleaners. I have always liked the smell of Pine Sol. For the longest time, I would just mix Pine Sol and distilled water, depending on whatever it said the ratio should be. Because I like the smell, that is the only reason. It is expensive. I have heard that Pine Sol, the brand or the company, has stopped using the regular amount of pine oil in it. Maybe all pine oil. I'm not sure. I could just check and see if there's pine oil. But they've reduced it because there is like a lack of pine oil. And so now they're creating the pine oil scent and cleaning properties with chemicals. So since I've heard that, I do smell that the Pine Sol smells different. Darn it, because I used to love it. And I'm definitely not going to throw it away. I will use the rest. Right now I've got a very big jar or jug left to use. However, I am so faithful in the Castile soap and distilled water that when I'm done with the Pine Sol, I will just keep using the Castile soap as a floor cleaner. Now, my floors they're the luxury vinyl tiling, so they can take that. I'm not going to go over if you got wood floors or something like that. So anyway, this is just kind of like if you have, laminate or vinyl. Even with the laminate, that might even be something special. So anyway, this is what I use. I just keep it in this guy, and when I'm out of this, I'm going to just continue to use my Castile soapy water. Anyway, I want to go over, because we talked about a lot of chemicals, and if you want a refresh of this, don't forget to check out the blog, which has it all written out and there for you to reference visually. I do want to go over some of the chemicals that you should never put together. Vinegar and baking soda. Why? Because it's worthless. It's like using water. If you're going to use vinegar and baking soda to clean, you may as well just use your freaking tap water. Vinegar and soap. So this is the same deal as using vinegar and baking soda. Soap is usually higher on the pH scale and vinegar is low. So same thing with baking soda, it's going to cancel each other out. And that goes with mixing soap and lemon juice as well. Vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. Both of these separately can be used as cleaners, but not together. Together they can create toxic fumes irritating your eyes and lungs. Vinegar and bleach, or bleach with any weak acid for that matter. It causes toxic chlorine vapors causing chemical burns. Bleach and pee. Why? This is basically bleach and ammonia. On to the next one. Never mix bleach and ammonia. That creates chloramine and chlorine gases, which can cause respiratory damage. Never mix bleach and rubbing alcohol. It creates chloroform, which is damaging to the nervous system, creates chemical burns, nausea, and high vapors could be fatal. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe and follow your highest excitement.